So could you see my document, girls? I think okay, let me just share. Yeah. Okay, so here, could you see my document, girls? Is my document visible, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So as you have studied in a C language, the same purpose here also, we have the enums. Even in enums are also supported in the Java. Right. Here the predefined class for the enums in the Java is the enumeration. Enumeration is a predefined class defined in the Java. So all the enums which you are creating will be coming under this enumeration class. Right. Yeah, and why do we use these enumerations? So when we want only a restricted set of input values or input data to be given to our variables for our as a value, then we can go for these enums, like for a day, month, or any restricted things which you want to give, then you can go. So what all the inputs can only be given for a variable, you can assign it and you can list out initially and treat them as the enum constants, right? So enumerations will be treated as a constants over here. So you can give them the list. So once you give the list for that variable of that particular enum type, you can assign only one of the value present in that list. You cannot assign any other value, right? So listen here. Enums is nothing but a list of named constants, right? So these are nothing but a list of constants which we are creating. So when you create a variable of this particular list type, you can assign only one of the value from this list. You cannot assign any other value. So you are restricting the value which you can give to your variable of the type enum, right? Okay. So in such case, so if you're having a necessary where you want to give only a restricted inputs, in such case we can create what is called as this enums, right? So as the same keyword here we are having as in your C, the keyword used for creating the enums is the enum keyword. Okay, and here is a syntax to create enum followed by the name of the class, right? And remember girls, one more thing, in the Java, as everything is treated as a class and an object, even enums are treated as a enum is treated as a class. So what I have created over here, enum apple, my enum type which is of the apple is also of a class type, right? And all these are considered as a objects or constants, enum constants. Jonathan, golden, Del Red, Del, Wine, Sap, Cortland, all these are the different varieties of apples which we are creating as a constants of the type apple, right? So the variable or an object which is created of an apple type can be assigned only one of these values. Okay, so this is the syntax enum followed by your enum type, and within the braces give the list of constants which you can assign to these apple, list of enum constants, right? So each of these value which you are passing over here are treated as a class type, okay, and they are constants, they are enum constants. So each one is here, as they are constants, they are by default public, static and final members of this enum type. So now if you take Jonathan is a public, static and final member of the type apple. Red Del is a public, static, final member of the type apple. So they are by default, the enum constants are by default public, static, final. Okay. And they are self-typed. They are of self-type, means they are derived type, means whatever is, you cannot assign means enum type to some other type. It is different from any other data types which we are having. They are of their own type. Means if you take here red del is of the type apple. So you cannot compare one enum with an other enum type. That is what the meaning. They are of their own particular type. Okay. And we can also declare them as a primitive type. So though they are treated as a class, we need not create an object. We need not use a new keyword and constructor and all to create an objects. As we create a primitive data types, in the same way we can just create our enum variables also. See, here is an example how we can access, right? So we have created a enum list, and inside the main I'm creating an object. So apple ap. Now ap is a variable of the type apple, and for this ap, which is a variable of the type apple, I can assign only one of these values, right? So as they are static, see, by default the constants are static, public static. So as they are static, you can access them through the class name. What is the class name here? Enum class name, it is apple. So if I want to use reddel, I will access it as apple.reddel. Right, see, so that is how we are assigning the value. AP is equal to apple.reddel. Because it is static, I access it through the class name. Is it clear, girls? Because it is static, I access it through the class name. So I'm assigning it through the class name. So this is a little difference with your C language in assigning the values, because there we don't treat them as a class type, but here in the Java everything is a class type. And when you want to assign, this is how we assign the values to your enum variable. And when you want to access them back, system.out.println value of app, then you're printing it as ap. Ap is your variable which prints as a name. See, the value of ap is reddel. It prints as a constant value which we have assigned to it. Now I have assigned apple.golden, right? So AP is equal to then I have assigned AP to the value of golden, and I'm trying to compare. So you can also compare two enums which belongs to the same class. I can compare two enums using a equal to operator, double equal to comparison operator, but that can be done between only two variables of the same class type, same enum type. I cannot compare an apple type with a month type enum, right? So whatever you are comparing, those two should belong to the same type. Right. So if AP is equal to apple dot golden, then you're comparing, then you're printing AP contains this value. So this is how you can compare. And you can also pass your enum variable into a switch case. See, here is where we are passing AP, the enum variable, into the switch case. Then what will be your constants? Your constant should be, in the switch case, one of these constants which you have declared in your enum declaration. So case Jonathan. So AP contains what now? Golden den. So it will compare. Is it Jonathan? Is it golden den? Is it red den? So whenever it matches finds a match, it tries to execute that particular case in the switch. So your enums can also enum variable can also be passed as a argument. Enum variable can also be passed as a argument in the switch case. You can pass it to your switch case. Is it clear, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
So we can compare enums which belongs to the same type, and we can also pass them as a argument in your switch case. So when you pass it into the switch case, AP now contains a golden den. So it goes to it checks in the first case, this is not Jonathan. So it goes to the second case, yes, it is golden den. So it prints that golden den is yellow for us and comes out, right? Okay. And as I told, enums are taken from the enumeration, predefined class enumeration, right? And it provides us two methods to access with these enums. So the values and value of methods are there. So all these all the enums, whatever you create, automatically contains these two predefined methods for the enums. One is the values and other one is value of. And here is a syntax. They return the enum type. Values of will return a, values will return a array of enum type values will be returned by this method, and value of whatever the name you are giving, that particular uh, strings value will be returned by this method as a enum type. Means it returns one of these constant value. If I say what is the value of AP, it returns me like golden den. The values method returns an array that contains a list of enumeration constants. So when you want all the list together, we call this values method. And the value of method returns the enum constant whose value is what corresponding to the string which we have passed as an argument. So whatever the string you have passed as an argument, for that the name, its constant value will be returned over here. And as I told, Java enumerations are treated as class type over here. We can also have what is called as a constructors. Okay, we can also use, we can also have constructors for our variables, right? See here, enum apple, just reduce this size. Okay, see here, you can create a even a constructor for a enum. See, enum apple, for each of them I'm passing a value. What is this? I'm assuming it to be a price. See, here is the constructor. See, here is your class apple, enum class type. It starts over here, right? We have declared our constants, 5 constants. We are passing a value over here, and we have declared one variable called as price, and here is the constructor, right? So the constructor has the same name as a class name, right? So what is that? Apple int p. For the constructor, we are passing p. What is p here? Let us assume it to be the price. So whatever the p, value which you are assigning as a p, we are assigning it to your variable price, right? And get price method will return us the price, return the price value. Okay, so this is our class. It ends over here, right? So in the constructor, you're having a pass. So when you call a constructor, it should be accepted, right? So that is why in your constants declaration of your enum, now we are passing the value which you are assigning, right? So what is this Jonathan? The price of the Jonathan is 10, golden L is 9, red L is 12, wine sap is 15, Cortland is 8, like that. Okay. So when you make a call, see here is the access which you can make, right? So when you're trying to access Apple app, okay, see here, we are printing the price. So whenever I create an object, Apple app, automatically for all the things, the constructor, default constructor will be called, and all the values, the constructor will be called, and all the values will be assigned. Means Jonathan will be assigned the value 10, golden and will be assigned a value 9 over here, right? Once you create an object, the values are assigned. So when you call a method apple.winesap.getPrice, see, winesap cost 15 cents will be printed for us. Okay. So you can also assign We can also assign a constructor. We can also assign a constructor to your enums because they are of class type. You can assign a constructor and set the values for your constants. We can also have some small methods like say get price, which you are using over here. So automatically once you create an object, all the constructors will be invoked and the values will be assigned over here. Is it clear, girls? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So enum is a list of constants which lets you assign only a specific type of values to your variable which you want to access. And once you access, they are treated as a constants. They are public, static, final type. You can access them as they are of a list type. You can also access them. See here we are trying to access them using a for loop, for each style of a for loop. Okay, apple dot values will give me all the values into A. So one at a time we are calling the get price to print the values of each of the apple over here. So you can access them using your variable, and as they are treated as a class type, we can also create some constructors for them and try to assign a values to those constants through the constructor. Okay, so this is just a basics about enums. Okay, girls. So here ends your syllabus for your object-oriented programming. So all of you, I'll also forward this after the class. So all of you just go through all the topics, prepare well for your exams. Okay, girls.
Okay, ma'am.
Let me just see if I have some previous question papers. Let us discuss few previous question papers. For your myths, you will be having from multi-threading, girls. You will be having multi-threading and what is that? 4th unit and 5th unit. Okay. So prepare well for your myths and also for the final exams. You got your dates for your lab externals. Girls,
Yes,
did you
ma'am.
get that? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
When you're having OOPS lab?
Next Monday, ma'am. As soon
Okay.
as the mid finish, the next day is ITWS, then Sunday, then Monday is OOPS lab.
23rd, ma'am.
Okay. So prepare well for your exams. Okay. Yeah. Could you see the question paper, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See, here are the questions from the previous paper. Just let us have a look. What are the commands used for compilation and execution of the Java program? Mostly they'll not ask such type of question, but I don't know. Okay, it is from JNTU paper. So compilation for execution and running of your program is Java C and Java. You have done it through the command prompt, right? So Java C is the command for compilation and Java is the command for execution. What is the Java bytecode? What is JVM? What is the Java bytecode, girls? Yes, what is the Java bytecode? When do we get the bytecode? Yes? Girls, you should respond. Am I audible, girls?
Yes, ma'am. It's a
Bytecode. What is a
intermediate
bytecode?
code.
Yeah, it's an intermediate code generated by our Java compiler,
JVM.
right? Okay. And it means it generates a dot class file. So where the bytecode is portable and which has to be further interpreted to get your executable code, right? And what is JVM? JVM is a Java virtual machine which provides us all the related environment to run your programs clearly. So it provides us all the toolkit for running your Java programs without any program. All the API will be provided by this. What is a package? Write the syntax to define a package. Package is nothing but it's a folder or it's
A
a
collection of classes and sub packages.
collection of classes and sub packages. It is used to group. It is something like a named folder where you can put all your files into organize your files. So write down the syntax. What does Java API package contain? So Java API means all your set of classes and methods are considered as a Java API. So all your packages, java.lang, java.util, java.io, java.awt, all these things comes under the Java API packages. What are runtime errors and logical errors in the Java? So logical errors are nothing but the errors which we get when we do not get the expected output. Runtime errors are nothing but treated as an exceptions in the Java, right? So when you make any mistake or anything in the logic or something, sometimes you may get a runtime errors which are treated as an exceptions over here. Next, what is an exception? What are two types of exceptions? Exception is what? An unconditional
Error that occurs during runtime, ma'am.
yeah, error that occurs at a runtime which is unconditional, means you cannot know when it is going to occur. It is an unconditional error which occurs and makes your program stop in the middle, right? And you can handle it in the Java. What are the two types of exceptions we are having?
Checked and unchecked, ma'am.
Good. Checked and unchecked exceptions. What are the properties of hash table? Means what are
No
its features?
duplicate key values can be
Yeah,
stored.
very good. It cannot contain a duplicate key values, and it arranges the value, it arranges the elements with a key value pair organization. No duplicates are allowed over here, right? Differentiate between iterator and a for each style. What is the difference between iterator and a for each style to access your elements? Iterator, you have to create an object and use the methods of the iterator class to access the next values. But using a for each, you can directly access them because the object which you are accessing will contain the next values. Automatically, once when you access, automatically pointer will be pointing to the next element. So you can access them easily using a for each when compared to the iterator where you need to create an object exclusively and access them through the separate methods. What is the difference between applet and a standalone Java application? So what is the difference between applet and application? This is GUI based and this is normal application, right? So lot many differences we are having. We have to list it out. What is the difference between applet and application? Applet has only restricted use of the resources. Application has a full-fledged use of all the resources. And here main thing is it is GUI based. Applet is a GUI based where your application is not a GUI based over here. What are the methods present in life cycle of an applet? Do you remember, girls?
Init method, start method, stop,
Paint method.
paint.
Destroy.
Yes. Init, start, stop, paint and destroy. Okay. Next, here are the part B questions. Explain briefly a class public static void main string and system.out.println keywords. So you have to explain what do you mean by public static void main. You will be having your first prototype in your program. So you have to explain
Yes.
what is the use of a class, what is the use of the public in that statement, what is the use of the static. I explained it in your initial classes, right? when I've explained the first program. What is the use of
Yes.
why do we use void? Why do we use the static over here? Why do we use the string args, so a string array over here? And what is system.out.println? It is used to print something onto your console, where system.out is a predefined object of a print stream. Okay. Next, write a Java method to find minimum value in a given two values. To find the minimum of two values, it is asking to find. Okay. Next, discuss about the precedence of operators and associativity. So, which one is higher precedence and which one is lower precedence? You can just mention, list out the operators which are having high precedence and low precedence, and accordingly mention their precedence values over here. Like if you take associativity, both the plus and minus will have a same precedence. So in that case, which one should be executed first? Is it from left to right or right to left? That is what is represented by the associativity. Explain the polymorphism and overloading with an example. So what do you mean by polymorphism and overloading? It
Same
is
thing as you
overloading is
explained.
static polymorphism or ad hoc polymorphism, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Write the benefits of packages and interfaces. So what are the advantages of packages and interfaces?
Reusability.
Yeah, organization. Packages will help us in organization. Okay, organizing the things in a better way so that accessing can be more easy. Right, interfaces helps us to support the multiple inheritance.
Multiple inheritance.
How can we add a class to a package? Write about the relative and absolute paths. So how can we add
Import, ma'am.
yeah, you have to add a class to a package. First create a package. It is to add, right? So create a package and put it as a first statement in your program. Then all the classes under that statement will be added into that particular package. It's not an import, right? Write about the paths, absolute path and the relative path. So what are the path which you have to mention while you're using in a package? You should specify the proper hierarchy, right? Then only your classes will be stored into that particular package. So if you do not specify the proper path in your package statement, your classes cannot be stored into your appropriate package which you want to use. Write the difference between interface and an abstract class. So just list out the interfaces. Already I gave you all the differences, girls. So even with your the differences, you're having a procedure oriented, object oriented. You're having applets, applications, interfaces, abstract class, interface and a concrete class, abstract class and a concrete class. All these differences you should remember. AWT components and Spring components, applet and application, lot many differences. And also you may get a difference with respect to your in IO package also sometimes. What is the not IO package, sorry, util package also. Something like they may ask you what is the difference between array list and linked list, or what is the difference between queue and set, list and a set, something like that also they may ask you. Write a procedure to create package with multiple public classes. So just create a package and try to create two classes under that package. What is exception handling? Explain an example of exception handling in the case of division by 0. So how can we handle it? And you have to write a program to explain it. Write a simple Java program which creates the threads. This is also very important, girls, creating a threads. What are the different ways in which we can create a threads? Using runnable and
By
using a thread
extending
class.
thread class or by implementing runnable.
Runnable interface, right? So which one is better? They may ask you like direct question, something like this, and different ways, or else they may ask you which of them is a better one. Is it using runnable or is it using thread class?
Runnable, ma'am.
Yeah, that is what. Okay, so your question can be of any type. Write about some built-in exceptions. So you have to list out the exception classes over here. Write an example to demonstrate the concept of thread synchronization. Right, so that thread synchronization program is there, no?
Producer and consumer.
Yeah, you can also write it with the producer and consumer, or as a simple example which we have discussed in a class, hello world hello, good morning or something we have discussed, no, where you will within the square braces the word has to come, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That way also you can use it. And see, and coming to your fourth unit, mostly fourth unit and sometimes even fifth unit, they may ask you individually like these, the classes, write the syntax along of the following utility classes. With syntax, explain the following utility classes. So with syntax means you have to write the prototype of string tokenizer, like class string tokenizer extends what, implements what, you have to write it. And along with that, the methods and constructors defined in that class has to be mentioned. And if possible, a simple small example also has to be given over here, example program. So they will ask you exclusively like this, explain about string tokenizer class, date and calendar class, scanner class, right? So you should able to write what is the purpose of that class, its prototype, its methods and constructors, an example program. Okay, compare and contrast any two collection algorithms. Collection algorithms are not there for us. Okay, explain the process of accessing a collection through iterator. So how we can access the collection through an iterator? You have to get an object and then try to access it by calling a next methods, right? Write a stepwise procedure to create and run an applet. So what are the steps which we follow to create and run an applet? You have to mention. List the event classes and event listener. Event interfaces. See, they are also asking the list. Event classes. So what are the different event classes you are having? Action events,
Mouse event,
mouse events,
key.
key events, text events, okay, item events, adjustment events. So lot many events are there. And corresponding listeners. For each event, you are having a corresponding listeners. Action event, the listener is action listener. Okay. Write an applet code to demonstrate the parameter passing to applet. So we have seen, no, you can pass the parameters to your applet tag and you can access them through the get parameter method, right?
Yes,
So here
ma'am.
is a question asking you to demonstrate the parameter passing. So you have to just explain how we can pass it and how we can access, and you have to also write the program for this. Let me just discuss one more paper also. I have 10 more minutes. Yeah, this is another paper. Could you see it, girls?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, do you have our college papers?
College papers, I don't have my. It is only last year actually. Those papers, as it was in the COVID, we could not get it actually from the department. Almost a similar type of questions it will be there. If possible, I'll just find it out and send you before your exams. My final exams lopala and I'll try to collect it and give you. I checked it out, but I could not find it in the department. Maybe I have to get it from the exam branch, central exam branch.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, here are the questions. Differentiate between class and an object. So class is a template, object is of a type, variable of, or an instance of a class. That is what you have to mention. Define both of them. What is mean by ad hoc polymorphism? Ad hoc polymorphism means
Overloading, ma'am.
overloading, right? You have to explain what is overloading, define it. How to define a package in Java? Again, the same question which you got it in the previous paper. Contrast between abstract class and an interface. This question is also repeated. Define exception. This is also there. Difference between a thread and a process. What is the difference between thread and a process? Thread is a lightweight process, right?
Yes,
So we
ma'am.
have also seen the differences between a thread-based switching and process-based switching, right? So that is what you can mention over here.
Yes.
Which methods of a DQ enable is to be used as a stack? Okay, this is not there for you. Make a comparison of a list, array and array list. See, you may get such type of questions. What is the difference, or how can you compare a list, array, list array and array list? List, array and array list. So what is a list, what is an array, and what is an array list? The difference between all these things you have to mention. Give the AWT hierarchy. AWT hierarchy means what? Container, panel,
Containers,
that is there, no?
components, frames, window.
That you have to write. What are the various classes used in creating a swing menu? So what classes do we use in creating a swing menu? We're having J menu, menu bar, menu, and you're also having a J check box menu, right? So different classes which you use in the creating a menu, total menu bar has to be mentioned over here. Next, coming to the part B, responsibilities of an agent. It's from the first unit, just a basic thing. Agent means the exactly this question is not there for you now. The responsibilities of agent here means when you're making a call, it's a function call which we are doing. So agent here is nothing but a function which is performing something, some job for you and giving you the result. Next, what is the purpose of the constructor in Java programming? So
Memory allocation and initializing variables.
yes, memory allocation and initializing. Define inheritance. What are the benefits of inheritance? Write costs. What costs are associated with inheritance? How to prevent a class from inheritance. So define inheritance. Acquiring of features is called inheritance. Benefits, we have, I gave you a list of benefits, limitations and advantages, right? So you learn advantages and limitations. Benefits, it helps you in reusability, less cost, it reduces your cost of uh, creating a project, right, where you are going for the reusability, right? And what costs are associated with inheritance? So benefits are also there, and also overhead is also there. That is, as they become dependent, when you make a modification to other, the subclass also has to be intimated about that modification. So that would be the extra overhead which you have in the case of maintenance. But in the case of creating the project for the first time, the cost will be less. How to prevent a class from inheritance?
By declaring by making the classes final, ma'am.
Good. So by making a class as final, you cannot inherit it. So either you can make it as final or you can make it as private. Anything is okay. Write a program to demonstrate hierarchical and multiple inheritance using interfaces. So here is directly program, you have to write multiple inheritance and hierarchical inheritance. Demonstrate the ordinal method of enum. The ordinal method here actually, it gives you the position where it is actually present. Ordinal will give you the count. Ordinal means count actually. So the ordinal method, when you call, it gives you the position where it is present, 0, 1, 2. It starts with 0, right? So where it is exactly present in the list has been given by this ordinal method. What is a type wrapper? What is role of auto boxing? So what is a type wrapper class? So as I told you, for each of your primitive classes, you are having a wrapper classes. So you can convert from primitive data type to the wrapper class using auto boxing, and wrapper class to the primitive data type to using a unboxing, right? Write a program to create 3 threads in your program and context switch among the threads using a slip functions. So you can just write a multiple threaded program. Write a program with nested try statements for handling an exception. So any exception, division by 0, just a simple program, you can write it. How to create a user-defined exception? So exact
By
user
creating a exception class and
yeah, subclass of an exception and overriding a toString method. You can just create an exception class. How to access? You have to write a program for each of them. Girls, remember to write the program for each and every program, as each and every question, as it is not a theory paper, means as it is not exactly a theory subject, it's a programming subject. So even if they mention or do not mention, explain it with an example or write a program. Exclusively do not mention to write a program also. You have to write a small sample program and have to explain the concept with that program. Okay, girls. So whether they mention or do not mention, try to write the example programs. Write a program to read a file constant and extract words using a string tokenizer class. Display the file if it contains a user query term or search. If it contains the user query term or the search key. Sorry. So you have to read the contents from a file, split it up using a string tokenizer, and they are asking to search whether the given value is present in that list set of words after dividing. That is what they are asking. So you have to read first, means to the string tokenizer. You have to give your input as your file and read the values from your file, split it them using your string tokenizer and check
Ma'am,
it
we
out.
can use file input stream for this.
Yes, file input stream. First you have to create that file input stream. You should pass as an argument for your string tokenizer object.
Okay, ma'am.
Contrast, sorted map and navigable map interfaces. So what is sorted map and what is navigable map? The differences they are asking. Sorted map means the list will be in the sorted. Navigable map is also a thing, but the thing is in the navigable map, it gives you the values which are nearer or close to it. When you make a request, we also can search for the nearest values with respect to the value present in that particular position at a given key. You can also get what is the nearest value present to it. Also, you can get it through the navigable map. What is the purpose of the bitset class? Bitset class is not there for you. Yeah, illustrate the use of the grid bag layout. So what is the use of the grid bag layout? It lets you customize your constraints which you can give for your layout manager for each and every individual objects. So using grid bag layout, you can exclusively mention the constants for each and every component. What are the subclasses of JButton class of swing package? So what are the subclasses? You're having your toggle button, J radio box, J checkbox, okay, J push button, okay, different classes are there which comes under the J button category. Create a simple applet to display a smiley picture using a graphics class method. Smiley means what? Small circle, inside a circle, you
Two
should have
dots.
two dots and one arc, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So a big circle inside which two small circles which you can represent it as an eyes and an arc which can represent it as a mouth, right? So such complex things they may not ask generally, but you can just have an idea as it is given. Write a short note on delegation event model. So definition, the methodology, how it actually works can be mentioned. Okay. Yeah, let me just stop over here. So this would be the last class for this semester. So if you want, we can have a revision on Saturday. If you are willing, just mention me. I'll just conduct a class so that if for any of the topic you want me to revise, we'll have it. Otherwise, this would be the last class for your semester. All the best, girls, for your future and also for your exams. Prepare well and write well. Okay. And this is a crucial time. Don't miss any subjects. Clear up all your subjects because you can't pile up. In the third year, again, you will be having, means from now onwards, you will be having lot many things to do other than your subjects. Like you have to think about your projects, you have to think about your internships, you have to think about other courses which you have to do. Okay. And also don't forget to complete, all of you, did you complete coding ninjas, girls?
Data structures we're still doing, ma'am.
Yeah, try to complete it by, means whenever you're having a free time, just spend 1 or 2 hours and try to complete it, because when you lose it, don't lose it. After the time is over, you cannot get your certificate, right? So you have struggled a lot to complete it, and at the end, don't leave it in the middle. Okay, all of you complete your courses and try to and submit the certificates to the Jyoti ma'am. Okay, both for the data structures. And what about your NPTEL? Are you doing? When is the last date for your first week? Okay, girls, 1 second. Let me just take the attendance. Okay, girls, you can leave. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.